This video is dedicated to the memory of my old friend Paul. Paul and I have been about like brothers for approximately 35 years. And I was up here shooting this gun and just doing some plinking with it with the long rifle cylinder in place. And I got to thinking about Paul. And Paul was my shooting, camping, backpacking, road tripping, muzzle loading, black powder, and ham radio talking and fishing and a lot of other things friend for a long time. We went canoeing together, we went, like I said, fishing, we went shooting a lot. We used to go on road trips and camp somewhere, stop somewhere and shoot, maybe go to a flea market or something like that, and had a great time. And Paul really liked inexpensive, or at least fairly inexpensive, simple .22 revolvers. And for a long time he had an RG-23, and I liked it, man. I wasn't a fan of RGs. I had an RG-10, which is the worst one. I had one of those when I was a teenager and shot it quite a bit, had a lot of fun with it, but man, it was a piece of junk. But Paul's RG-23 shot pretty well, and he liked it so well he bought a second one. And so we would stop somewhere on our travels for a little plink fest, and he would put a box or two of ammo through that while I was shooting whatever I was shooting. And I've bought a couple of .22 revolvers trying to capture what that RG-23 was to Paul, but and I eventually did, pretty much anyway, but not as cheaply as he did. But anyway, Paul eventually replaced his RG-23 with a standard Magnum frame North American Arms, not like this one, not the Black Widow, but just the standard Magnum length frame, kind of like the one I have, but the one I have is .22 Magnum only. He had both cylinders for his, and that replaced his RG-23. And for probably the last 20 years, that's what he had. And most of the time he carried it in a brown paper bag, little lunch bag. And he would carry it loaded with Magnums in the Magnum cylinder, and with the .22 long rifle cylinder and a box or two of .22 long rifle ammo in the bag with it, so that he was ready to plink at any time. And another thing he always carried was, in his truck or whatever, was a roll of paper towels. And he never had earplugs. That was Paul for you, man. He would just tear off a couple of bits of paper towel and use those as earplugs when he would shoot. I don't do that. I've been known to do it in an emergency, but I try to at least have some earplugs. But that little revolver, I already liked the looks of the North American Arms, but that little revolver made me decide that I really like the removable cylinder revolvers, because they're simple, you know. They're not very fast to load, but they're simple, and there's not much to go wrong with them. And I've bought a few of them. Of course, I have a few of the North American Arms revolvers, but the problem I have with most of them is they're difficult to get practical accuracy with, since they don't really have a rear sight, and the front sight is close to useless. It's difficult to get a good grip on them. I like them anyway, but you know, these H&R revolvers, like this 923. Now I really like these. It's a pull pin, removable cylinder revolver, holds 9 shots, and to me that makes a great Paul revolver. Shoots well too. But anyway, so I was up here shooting my North American Arms, and I've shown you this one before. I got it fairly recently, but this is the Black Widow. It's got a 2-inch barrel, which is a little bit longer than most North American Arms, so it gives it a little better velocity. Although I've found from shooting stuff with RG10s and RG23s and so on that even the 800 or so feet per second that 22 long rifle does out of a 2-inch barrel is enough to kill small game at the range that you can actually hit it with something like that anyway. But the 2-inch barrel does give it a little more velocity, probably 100 feet per second more, and the grip is much more usable. And the rear sight, it actually has a rear sight and a good front sight, so it's a lot more usable than the other ones. And so to me, that's probably the best North American Arms revolver from a shootability standpoint. Shootability versus portability. You know, they make even longer barreled ones, but you start to compromise in pocketability with those. So, and Paul, you know, like I said, he carried it in a paper bag, but he would take it out and take the revolver out and put it in his pocket when we were hiking or whatever. But so I was just up here plinking with this, and I started remembering those revolvers of Paul's, and decided to do a little bit of shooting dedicated to the memory of Paul. Because see, Paul came by here to see me a few weeks ago, and I wasn't here, so he left a message to let me know he had been here. Later on that day, Paul was involved in an auto accident which killed him. So you know, I've been missing my old buddy, and it doesn't take a whole lot for me to start remembering him, and definitely shooting this thing does it. So I just thought I would do that to share with you guys. Dead simple, man. That's what I like about them.